Hey guys, and welcome to the Lazy Lemon Creations podcast. My name is Lindsay. You can find me on Instagram as Lazy Lemon Creations, and you can find me on Ravelry as Lazy Lemon. This is my podcast all about the crafty things that I get up to, like knitting, crochet, cross stitch, diamond painting, or anything in between. Today's episode is mostly knitting. I did finish a crochet project that I will show you guys, but everything I have here is knitting today. I live in the heart of the New River Valley with my husband and our two kids. It is Thursday, it's not July, it's June. Thursday, June 6th, 2024. Everybody is upstairs right now. The kids are getting a bath, and my husband is upstairs keeping them contained so that I can do this podcast. We are officially into our summer break now, so podcasting episodes, the schedule got a little thrown off because, let's be honest, what schedule did I have to begin with? But the schedule got thrown off a little bit just because once we hit summer, it's just been a lot of fun hanging out with our friends and doing whatever we can to stay active and not be extremely bored within the first week. So let's dive into what I've done in 2 weeks. The first thing is my FOs. The first FO that I would like to show you guys is going to be a photo. I'm going to insert it here. It was the crochet blanket that I had made for my niece, Ivy, who is she is coming in July. My sister, Emily, is due in July. The blanket was crocheted using a H hook, which is an 8 or a 5mm hook. I knit it using Hobby Lobby yarn in the colorways hot pink, pink, and white. And each block on the blanket each block on the blanket is an 8x8. The blanket itself is also 8 squares by 8 squares. So it was 64 squares altogether for the blanket. And each square was approximately 20 grams. It was like 20.8 up to like 21 grams, but just for simple math, I made it 20 grams, which therefore made the grand total of that blanket 1,280 grams of yarn that I crocheted into that blanket. And I'm really happy with that. I was so happy to be able to gift that to my sister. They opened it at their baby shower, which was on Saturday the 1st. It was really nice. We did have to go to West Virginia for that trip, and thankfully it turned out great. The traffic was awesome. There was hardly anybody on the road. The weather held out for us. There was a prediction of thunderstorms, but it didn't happen. It didn't hit. And it was just a really good time. The kids had a blast. I had a blast. It was great. And so, it was funny. My sister said, "I didn't think that you were going to make one." And I said, "Of course I was going to make one for her." She goes, "And where's mine?" I said, "It's still a whip hiding in my closet for 3 years because it didn't take priority." So, we had fun. We had fun talking about the baby blanket. But I was very excited to have that blanket done for the baby shower. The pink baby blanket that I made for Ivy, I'm not 100% sure when I actually started that blanket. It was a whip for a while. I typically have a boy-themed blanket and a girl-themed blanket in the crochet works at any given time. And then when I know someone who's having a baby, and once they know the gender, then I can finish said baby blanket and have it ready for them, and it's good to go. So I'm not 100% sure when the blanket was started, but for S&Gs, let's just say that it was started on January 1st. I know it was started way before that, but let's just say it was started on January 1st of this year, and it was finished on May 27th of this year. So that took nearly 6 months to make that blanket, when in actuality, it probably didn't. It probably took me 2 months because when I was comfortable with it, I could do like 3 to 4 squares a day, but most of the time I just had the mood to do 1 square a day. So 64 squares yeah, 2 months-ish. I wanted to try this because I had seen with Tamra of Caffeinated Craft Mama, she was talking about how someone had made a sweater and it took them a year to complete the sweater, but they had put it aside for so long. In actuality, they made the sweater in like 27 days because they added a stitch marker every single day that they knit on it, and then they just counted their stitch markers and it told them how many days they actually worked on the project. And so, for instance, for that blanket, it was 64 stitches. I could say that I did one a day, but it took me nearly 6 months to finish the blanket. Did it really take me 6 months, or were there weeks that I just didn't work on it? Which is 100% the truth. I know that there were weeks that I didn't work on it, but I think that's really cool of a way to figure out how long did it actually take me to complete this project. Like, of course, we have our start and end dates, and that's really helpful with keeping track of things. But when you have a big project like that, where you might not work on it every single day, or something that took a lot of yarn, you might want to know, hey, I can knit or crochet or make something very similar in this amount of time if I were focused on it. So I liked that idea, and I might incorporate that into the next blanket. I don't know. I have a blanket I could do that on, and it's very low on the totem pole, so I could start it over and start fresh, and I might do that. Future Lindsay, remember this. The next FO that I had finished was a gift. It was the pair of Vengeance socks that were Leading Men Fiber Arts. I will insert a picture here. I actually made 4 socks, so 2 pairs, with the yarn that I got from Leading Men Fiber Arts because the recipient had such a small foot. So she actually got 2 pairs of socks, and for the friends and stuff like that, they only buy the yarn. I'm going to be knitting socks anyway, so as long as they buy the yarn of what color they want to, I don't care to make it. So she got a steal on her socks for that. But they were knit magic loop, 64 stitches, on a ChowGoo red lace 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter needle. Again, saying millimeter, it's gonna throw me every single time. But those socks that I made, they were started on May 11th, and I finished them on May 22nd. That was the second pair. The first pair were started April 17th and finished on May 7th. So again, 2 different pair of socks, 2 different start and finish dates. So I'll have that on the bottom of the screen because that was really confusing how I said that. But yeah, I'm glad I keep track, and I'm glad I write it down because otherwise I would have no idea. And then the third FO that I have, I also don't have with me. I have the leftovers of it though, and I can show you that. So it was in my bag, my little dragon bag. And yes, they're dragons, not wyverns. I've looked into it. I know the difference. My dragon bag from Tamra. And I have the label now. It was the Pumpkins and Wool Romantic Pearls sock set. There it is. That was the label for this sock. It was a 75-25 blend, and this is what I have left of it. Oh, sorry, can y'all, yeah, you see that? That sun is shining in through my front door and blasting me in the eyes. I don't like that. So this was the mini, and this is what I have left of the mini. Speaking of, I want to write this down. We're going to do a lot of things that we don't normally do on this episode. We're going to go ahead and weigh some stuff, and I'm going to write it down on the label so that I know the difference. And we're going to do it. So, for the mini that I have, it weighs approximately 12 grams. I always like to take it off and weigh it 2 times just because you never know when it's going to give you a different amount. Yep. So the mini on this is 12 grams. And the big skein, the main skein, look at this. Oh, it's so pretty. I don't know if it's going to show up. Let me just shine it in the light. Let me find the sunlight. There it is. No. It's a very light pink with a little bit of green speckling in it and a little bit of darker pink speckling in it as well. But it's absolutely gorgeous. And it has 58 grams for the main skein. So the reason that I wanted to weigh these is because I know from last year I can knit an entire sock minus heels, toes, and cuffs, one sock with 20 grams of yarn. I did it with my Harry Potter Advent from Yarn Cafe Creations and Dragon Horde Yarns. They did the Harry Potter Advent. I decided to make socks with that. Each mini was 20 grams. I had the same heels, toes, and cuffs in a contrasting color, but the whole body of the sock was used with 20 grams. So just by that simple math, I should theoretically be able to make a pair of socks with 40 grams if I do contrasting heels, toes, and cuffs. Now, you'll see in the photo of the pearl socks, the romantic pearl socks that I have inserted or am inserting right now. You'll see on that photo that I did the cuffs, and I might have done the toes. I don't know. I did the cuffs with this yarn, and I have plenty left over. With 58 grams, that's enough for me to get another pair of socks out of this yarn. I have a lot back here. I've got some black that's Luna Moon Fiber Arts. I have some Bear from Cozy Cauldron Fiber Co. Sorry. I have yarn that I can use as the contrast colors if I need to, but I want y'all's opinion. If y'all had enough yarn, because I make my socks short. I do. I only do a 30 row leg. I do a 20 row cuff and a 30 row leg on my sock before I start my heel flap and gusset. So with that, would y'all make a second pair of socks? I mean, it's maximizing my yarn, and this is a lot to have as a leftover, and I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite here. I'm not a big fan of scrappy socks. Yes, you're gonna see a pair of scrappy socks here in just a little bit, but I'm not a big fan of like the scrappy socks in like the striping pattern, or the scrappy socks in general, or scrappy blankets. I think they're gorgeous. I'm just not a fan of knitting it because I cannot stand weaving in ends. I cannot stand the alternating colors and the alternating yarns. I just don't like it. It's not a process that I like in my knitting. I'll do it if I have to, but if I don't have to, I'm not going to. All of that to say, I would make a whole nother pair of socks out of this. Would you? Would you make a whole nother pair of socks out of this? Because if so, then I can stretch my yarn pretty far. I can make my yarn last a lot longer than normal in that case. Plus, with it being summer sock camp, that's double dipping. Not technically. I would actually have to finish them for it to be double dipping. But you understand what I'm saying. One skein of yarn, and let's be honest, yarn's not getting any cheaper, and I get 2 pairs of socks out of it. I think I've answered my own question, but I want your opinion. So tell me down below what you would do, what your thought process is, and let me know if I'm out of my mind for playing yarn chicken in that manner. Yes. So the Romantic Pearls socks that I finished, they were my first pair for summer sock camp. So it was. I started those socks on May 22nd of 2024, and I finished them on May 28th of 2024. So I was really excited about getting those socks done, and then I moved on to the next pair, which I have with me after showing you guys 3 FOs that I do not have in my presence right now, which I have to say, 2 of them were a gift, 1 of them I've already worn and they're in the laundry. So this FO that I had was, that's my needles. The next FO that I have is from Magical Mischief, which is a Freckled Whimsy sock club. I am actually not a member of this sock club. It was an extra that she had, so I was able to snag it on her website. But it is called There's a Boggart in My Wardrobe. And it's a 6-stripe repeat. And here they are. Let's see if I can get them shown together. I don't know if I can do this. I'm gonna try. Let's see if I can get these socks. There we go. But these socks, look at those colors. Stop looking at me. Look at the socks. There we go. I did my heel flap and gusset in the stripe on both of them. There you go. That's a better way to see it. Again, I do a 20 row cuff. I do a 30 row leg. I do my heel flap and gusset. And then for this one, I did the alternating cuff and toe because it doesn't bother me if the stripes are on the heel flap. I was able to see enough of the stripes on the foot so it doesn't bother me. Now, if it was like a 24 stripe repeat or something and the stripes were all about 6 or 7 rows, then I might have a problem with it because I wouldn't get to see all the colors. But this is a 6 stripe repeat. I had plenty of room on my foot in order to be able to see the colors. These were started on May 28th, 2024, and they were finished today on June 6th, 2024. So, excuse me, petting my hair, I gotta stop it. Anyway, so these socks were my 2nd pair of Freckled Whimsy socks that I've ever done, and I'm really excited for them. They were also my 2nd pair finished for summer sock camp. I still have to photograph them and post them to summer sock camp, which I will be doing after this podcast while I'm waiting for it to upload to my computer so I can edit it together. Editing Lindsay, good luck! And yes, again, same issue that I have, guys. I want to show you because I'm not insane. I have the mini, which I think this mini is less. Now, she is changing her clubs because I have her Halloween club to where the mini is a 25 gram mini. So this was only a 20 gram mini. She is changing it to where her minis are now 25, but this was prior to that change. And that mini is 6 grams, which again, I don't need. I don't need. And then the main skein that I have here, which still looks really cool caked up. The purples, the browns, the grays, they all look really nice together. I love that cake. It's 62 grams. Like, that's a lot of yarn. And I know that I can make a pair of socks out of that. Like, how do you not? If you have 62 grams of yarn and I don't know, guys. Am I delusional for wanting to do a second pair? Am I smart for wanting to do a second pair? I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I just know I want to do it. So, this was my 4th FO since my last episode. Now, let's get into whips. I only have 2 whips sitting here beside me today. The first whip, it's a hoe. It's a half finished object. So, Again, guys, I hate weaving in ends. I still haven't done it on this sock. This is my whip that I currently have in progress. That one's not bad either. Yes, it looks so good. I've got my markers on here that tell you how far along on the sock I knit it. I don't know what this yarn is. I don't know what the green is. I don't know what the purple is. They are scraps that I just whacked myself in the face. They're scraps that I had, and I had enough. So I decided to make socks out of it because, again, why waste the yarn? I'm not going to make any other, sorry, I'm getting my scale ready. That's why I keep looking down. I'm not going to waste the yarn on a scrappy project because that's not just who I am. And so why wouldn't I maximize my sock input and just use what I can? Because I have enough for it. But yeah, the second part of that sock, I don't even have the cuff started yet. So I just have the yarn and I've got this sock finished. So that has been a long time whip. I have had these socks on the needles. I've got them in a bag here from Knack Knits Co. Whew, tongue twister. But I have them in this bag here. I lost the bag, honestly, for probably a good 2-3 weeks at one given point. But just to show you guys how long this has been a whip, these socks, January 29th of this year. It's now June and I haven't finished them yet. I will, I just haven't. And so that's why I wanted to get to work on them, because they were a whip, they were sitting in the bag, they were just sitting there. What am I gonna do? The next whip that I have is in my Fries Before Guys bag. It is my Musselburgh hat that I have. I can't get it out. Okay. It is the Warm Sangria colorway from Yarn Cafe Creations. Beautiful blues, greens, and purples with some yellows in there too. It is a Musselburgh. It's going to be for a kid when I eventually fold it in on itself. And I don't have that much more to go. This is a DK weight yarn. And the last time I podcasted, the last time I showed this hat, let me correct myself. I was right there at the heart. I don't know if my camera's going to focus. Hold on, guys. There it goes. I was right there at the heart, and I've knit that much, so maybe 1.5 inches. So I'm still working on this just as I can, leisurely. I'm not in any hurry. And that Musselburgh hat is a pattern by Isolde Teague. Also, all the socks that I make are vanilla socks on magic loop by Kate of the Crazy Sock Lady with all of her designs. So that's it. That's it for yarn. Okay, next, let's talk about future cast-ons. I am now going to talk about the Freckled Whimsy Halloween Club that she has. I got the second installment for the club, and I'm going to show it on my podcast. If you have not received it, look away. I want to talk about it. If you haven't gotten it yet, look away. It's super cute though, okay? All right, giving you a countdown. 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, so this is the June 2024 club with 25 gram mini skein and then her full 100 gram skein. This colorway is Free Broom Rides, and I just love it so much. I do. I think it's gorgeous. I can't wait to knit this up. It's not caked yet. I am still working through the 7 cakes that I had originally made for summer sock camp. I'll show you a photo here. The Monday before camp, I did a winding party. I had so much fun just winding those all up and getting those prepped for camp. I have them in their own bags. they're ready to go. So I'm not winding this one up yet. I actually haven't even knitted the first pair for the Halloween club yet. And I don't know if I want to move it to the back of the queue for summer sock camp so that I can knit all of my Halloween socks back to back to back. I don't know. I'll like an opinion on that if you've got one, because I want to knit it, but I also don't want to knit it and then have to wait a month for another pair to come in. So we'll see. But I've already set aside my summer sock camp pair number 3 that's going to be knit. It is going to be in my Ginger Snap Fibers donut bag. Oh, I love this bag so much. It's a snap bag and it's got a handle, and that's her logo. Focus on her logo, not my face. There we go. And this is also a Freckled Whimsy colorway, so I'm still using her yarn. I'm just not using her Halloween colorway. This is just her original 2024 Yarn Club, but it was the April colorway, and it is called It's My Party. Again, it's a 75/25 yarn. It did not come with a mini. This is what it looks like. It is Rainbow Central. I cannot wait to cast this on and see all of its beautiful color changes. I'm very excited for that. It is going to be my 3rd pair of socks that I cast on for camp, probably later today. The scrappy green pair that I had, I don't know if I mentioned that those were scrappy, but yes, those are my scrappy socks, because again, I have so much extra yarn because my socks, I don't make them very big. They fit me, but I don't make the legs very big, so I have a lot of yarn left over. So the scrappy socks, they will be done for camp, but they're definitely not something I'm tracking for camp, because again, they were cast on in January. So they can just be set aside for the next 5 months for all I care. The 3rd pair for camp is definitely going to be that Freckled Whimsy yarn, and I'm probably going to cast it on tonight when me and my husband get into our TV shows, which brings me to book and television. So let's jump into that too. Man, I am talking a lot tonight. I'm not yawning though. That was me knocking on wood. I'm not yawning though, so that's good. So, books and television. For television, I have been watching a lot of television the past 2 days, but that's just jumping back and forth and watching an episode or 2 here and there, and not actually watching a season in a day like I can and have done before. But I am still watching Law & Order SVU. I want to say I'm in season 14. I don't know. I really don't know what season I'm in, because I just click next episode and I just let it play all the way through. So I don't know what season I'm in on Law & Order SVU, but I'm fairly well into it. So I don't know how many more seasons I've got left on Peacock. I need to look that up, but I think I'm in season 14. No promises on that. I don't know. That show's been running for 30 years. I don't know, 20 years, something like that, 25 years. I don't know. Someone tell me down below, how long has Law & Order SVU been running? Which I know I could look it up on my phone. I just don't want to. Then, my husband and I were watching Young Sheldon on Netflix many moons ago, and he finished it and I never did. So I wanted to go through and catch myself up. So I am in the 6th season of Young Sheldon. We had finished 5 together. He watched all of 6. And 7? Is 7 on Netflix? He finished whatever was left on Netflix. I stopped at 5 and then didn't resume 6 for some reason. So I am 2 episodes into season 6 of Young Sheldon, and I'm enjoying that. That's just easy background noise TV. Enjoy the comedy of it. And then another one that me and my husband have just started together, and we love this one, is Modern Family. It gives us the vibes that The Office gives you, where the characters can talk to the camera and have side conversations to it, but it's also just day-to-day life of what it's supposed to be like. So we like Modern Family. It's pretty funny. My husband likes Phil, and he likes Cam. Those are his two favorite characters in the show right now. So we're really enjoying watching that right now. Hi, why'd you sneak down?
Take a bath for a little bit.
Yeah. What are you doing down here, buddy?
Daddy gave me a dress and I'm cold, and Daddy gave me blankets.
Okay.
And I'm getting washed and get out the tub, and Eddie's going first.
Okay. Reading. Like I said, I was taking a break from my husband's series, the Lightbringer series. I finished book 2. Wanted to take a break because 3, 4, and 5 are even longer, even heavier. So in place of it, I wanted a short little, burst of dopamine. So I read The Coworker by Freida mcFadden on my Kindle because I have Kindle Unlimited. And so I read that book. I think I gave it 4 stars. I loved the storyline. Loved the premise of it. Loved the thriller aspect of it. I did not like how it ended. Okay? It left me wanting something darker. And I know that says a lot more about me than it does about the book. But I wanted something darker. I don't know. I guess the psychological thriller that I had read as Verity from Colleen Hoover, I guess I was expecting something a little bit more darker in this Freida mcFadden book. And it's okay that it's not. It still has murder in it, and it still has suspicion in it, and it still has the can't put it down, gotta read the next chapter aspect to it. But I did not like how it ended. And if you have finished it, message me, especially on Instagram, message me. I want to talk about it. Okay, I do. And I'm starting her other books. The next one I have queued up on my Kindle is The Teacher. But I had read The Coworker for a little drop of dopamine. But what I am reading at night before I go to bed is ACOTAR. Yes, this is an old cover. I have the old covers of ACOTAR and the old covers of Throne of Glass, because I bought these books long before they were Book Talk famous. I used to work in a bookstore and I loved it, and one of my favorite things to do was buy book sets. So I actually got the first 3 in a book set. The little novella 1 and number 5 weren't even out yet at that time. And then Throne of Glass, I've bought them as they come, and I hate it because my first 3 are paperback, the rest are hardback, and then like the last 2 are like taller hardback books, and I don't like that. And I know, buy the box set, they would all be the same size. I'm thinking about it. I already have the books, and it only bothers me on the aesthetically pleasing side of it. To actually read the book, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me at all to read a book that's to go from paper to hardback or anything like that. It bothers me when it's sitting on my shelf and aesthetically it goes I don't like it. I don't like it, okay? But anyway, at night I'm reading ACOTAR. I'm that far into it. I'm not going to talk about it on the podcast about what's going on in the book, but I've already met some people that I know that we're supposed to meet, and I've got opinions of the people that we're supposed to meet. I'm on page 135, if that tells you anything. So I don't know percentage wise because I'm not reading it on my Kindle. So yeah, I'm reading ACOTAR right now as well. So Tamara, I'll be messaging you soon. Probably 5 or 6 more days by the looks of it. I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to be done reading it, but I'm definitely going to message you and talk about it. And then after I read ACOTAR, of course, I'm going to read ACOMAF, and I get to start listening to my Fantasy Fangirls podcast again because I have missed them so much. And I know that I am going to have so much binge-worthy content of theirs to listen to when I get to the ACOTAR series, the ACOMAF series, and stuff like that. I'm going to have so much to listen to because they want to finish the entire series by January when Onyx Storm comes out. And I've pre-ordered Onyx Storm. I am going to start Fourth Wing on the 1st of January, and I'm going to read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame by January 21st. So, 22nd. January 20-something another. I'm going to read both of those books in those 3 weeks so that I can prepare for Onyx Storm and have the story fresh in my mind. I've got both of those on my Kindle and my bookshelf because that's also the type of reader I am. I love to read on my Kindle. It's my top pick because I can knit and read at the exact same time if I use my Kindle. A physical book is next. I can't do audiobooks for myself, but I can do podcasts, which is really weird. But in podcasts, I can let my mind wander. It's okay. I'm not missing as much as I am if it's an audiobook. An audiobook, if my mind wanders and I try to rewind, I'm lost. It's a thing. I'm going to try and get back into it. I'm trying with the Harry Potter series. That's what I'm going to try with because I already know the Harry Potter series. But if I can trick my brain into thinking that this is how we're going to listen to audiobooks and this is what it's, then hopefully I can start incorporating that into ways that I read. But right now, Kindle or physical book. That's what I've got. But yeah, I have a lot of books that I have physically on my shelf that I'm looking at them right now. That's what I'm doing. That I want to read on the Kindle instead of the actual book itself, either because of its size or because of its font, because I have some of those books and they're tiny. I have the Lord of the Rings books that are all small. I have some of the Percy Jackson books that are really small. I have Partholon. Yeah, I got some of these books. Again, they were bought in box sets. They're on the shorter side. I should say, let's try that again. They're on the shorter side. I wouldn't say they're small. I mean, the book is still the same length, but like when the book is only yay tall compared to that tall, it's a difference and it's noticeable. All right, guys, I really think I can't talk anymore tonight about anything. I mean, I barely had anything to show physically here with me, but I had a lot to say. So I've said my piece, or pieces, and everything I talked about will be linked down below so that if you're curious or interested or questioning what in the world did I just say, it'll be down below so that you can follow a link and look for it yourself. But that's all I have for today. Hopefully this podcast episode will be up by tomorrow, and I hope the rest of you, what's the other half doing? I hope you all have a wonderful start to your summer. Bye.